We're in the intro. Am I coming in hot or am I coming in slow?
Come in the middle. Come in the middle.
Middle, yeah.
Try find middle ground.
Medium grill.
Righto. Just in the comfort zone.
Yeah, there.
Yep.
Yeah, righto. Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast,
Oh,
everybody.
no, but less.
Oh. Welcome back to the Social Distance Pod. Okay. Welcome back to the Social Distance.
Yeah, that's it.
Here we go.
Just give it some stick. Cover drive.
Righto. Welcome back to the Social... Oh, no. Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast. Is that a question?
Sounds like Antiques Roadshow.
I feel like I need to give you an answer.
What you have here is a very rare type of duck poo. It's fossilized.
Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast, everybody. Right, okay, I'll do it this time. Welcome back to the Social Distance Podcast. We're back for another episode. The Giro's just wrapped up. First ever Australian winner of the Giro, Jai Hindley. He doesn't join us, but we talk about him. And
you know what? We get a really good guest on, and we don't even talk to the guest about. We've had the most successful guest, one of the best cyclists in history we've had on the show today, and we got him in to talk about his non-specialist subject and about somebody else. We didn't even ask him a question about himself. Not one.
Yep, that's right. Robbie McEwen, the man himself, Robbie McEwen joins the show today. He talks about the Giro, and we pay him out about his clothing.
Shit straight off the bat.
Pay him out about his dress sense.
We're not going to get a guest on. Literally, get a guest on, rip into them, and then go, "Oh, cheers, mate."
Yeah. You basically
you just got to be yourself. Just be yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
We're assholes.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we dissect the Giro. We talk about Jai. Robbie McEwen does join us and gives some great insight about the Giro, what it was like in the commentary box for GCN. I tell a story about why I was covered in the fire extinguisher ingredients that I posted on social media. George gets scammed. Jonsey celebrating a massive victory of his football team.
Yep.
Western United champions. Like, share, subscribe.
Let's get ready to rumble! Front kick.
Just getting bored in dance move chat.
My radar's going pretty hard at the moment. I think we should.
Will you shut up, man?
That escalated quickly.
We're going to need to get some more qualified guests on the show, eh?
Hey, boys, the Giro's finished. First ever Australian winner. We got Robbie McEwen on the show today.
I'm not the winner, by the way.
No. You might have you've won some stuff there, but you haven't won. You didn't win the Giro.
I feel like I rode every pedal stroke though.
Well, it shows because what is this outfit of socials?
Come on, jealousy is a horrible thing, Dan. I reckon I can find one in your size. You know, I'll look after you.
It looks like a safari suit that's been put in the wash with a red cap, like off The Simpsons.
It's the best, isn't it? I mean, if you got to go out and you got to make a statement when an Australian's going to win the Giro, you find the most outlandish pink outfit you can lay your hands on. And it took me all of about 4 seconds of searching till I found it, and I just hit the button straight away and said, "Just send it to me." Sold.
George always corrects us on this because it's also an audio podcast. How would you describe that outfit, George?
That's a boiler suit. That's a
yeah.
Do you know what that is? That is a like a cross between I'm about to go down and fix the boiler in the basement, but I might swing past the Ritzy district on the way home for a G&T on the rocks.
Yeah. Or like the original Grease movie, you know, when they're sort of sliding in and under the cars doing the Wella. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a 4-barrel carbion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That was actually my favorite
Robbie,
part of the Giro. Like,
I enjoyed the show, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Good.
We just thought we'd get you on and abuse your dress sense and let you go.
Welcome. We're going to rip you. See you later. Hey, did you know there was a race on too?
Yeah. I was just embroiled in TikToks, watching you guys do TikToks.
Oh, God. Good gig, though. I'm loving it. I'm loving GCN. And, I mean, just for me, it was just so good to be a part of commentary and the broadcast with an Aussie winner of the Giro. Just the way Jai went through the whole race, he looked so good through the entire thing. And now, I wouldn't say the whole time I backed him in right from the start because he's coming off a really difficult year last year after running second the Giro the year before. But as time went on, he looked better and better. And when I sort of finally signed out a commentary on that second last day, the mountain stage to the Marmolada, I finally nailed my colours to the mast because you're supposed to stay neutral and impartial in commentary. I said, "No, come on, Jai, I want the Aussie to win." And that attack was just monstrous.
Oh yeah,
I was a bit the same. Like we did a show on this after the first rest day, and at that point, Jai had just won in Blockhouse, and I'll admit I wasn't even really thinking about Jai for the overall before the Giro started. I mean, obviously knew that he's a good bike rider, like you say, Robbie. You got second a couple of years ago, but when I was looking through we were talking about who's going to win the Giro before the race. I didn't say Jai. And then he won on Blockhouse. And at that point, I was like, he's definitely in contention for a podium here. But at that point, I still thought, Yates is obviously out of the race at this point. But Carapaz is going to walk away with it. And then as the race went on, it was just like you couldn't actually separate those three guys, Lander as well, for the whole final week. And then I was at Tour of Estonia and I just finished the last stage and chucked the TV on and it was 2.5K to go. And I was like, what the fuck's happened here? Jai's going to win the Giro. And, mate, it's actually unbelievable to think. Like 20 years ago, you guys are saying in the commentary, 20 years ago since Cadell, people thought Cadell was going to win it. That was 20 years ago. Since then, Richie had the leader's jersey at the Giro as well, didn't he?
Yeah, for about 10 days.
Yeah. And now finally you got Australian winner. Pretty incredible.
It's taken a long time, really, to win another Grand Tour since Cadell won the Tour in 2011. And, a bunch of close calls before that. And, of course, Richie on the podium of the Tour a couple of years ago with a third overall. It just shows you how hard it is. But watching that stage, just going back to the moment where everybody started to realise, like, wow, he's going to win this thing. To watch the gap open centimetre by centimetre and watch Carapaz creep forward on his saddle trying to stay on the wheel of Jai. And then, the host broadcast, they actually missed the moment that he really let the wheel go. They were filming the group behind with Carthy. But, when they came back, suddenly there's a 15, 20-metre gap to Carapaz. And I tell you what, the cheers went up everywhere. Even me in the studio, I'd gone down into the studio for our post-stage show to watch it. And I was just cheering the house down. And, it was incredible. And so just so happy for him. After what he went through last year with injury and illness and everyone saying, oh, well, that second in the Giro was a flash in the pan, to come back and ride as well as he did. And like you said, Bewls, they couldn't separate him through the last week, but also blame a little bit of that on the nature of the course. We didn't have those really steep uphill finishes all the way to the line, which could really pull them apart. But that just added to the tension and made the final moment just so much better.
What shits me, though, in Australia is the coverage. Like, he's won the Giro. It's fucking huge. And it's still, fifth throwaway comment on sport.
Really?
One of the AFL footy. It's not massive.
Did you struggle with that, Robbie? Like, through your, obviously, huge Tour de France success, stages, green jerseys. What, was that, were you big in Aussie? Because, in New Zealand, we're not big at all. No matter what we do, you might get a mention in a in a news article, but unless you're winning the Tour de France, you're not big. But how was it for you in Aussie when you were going through? Were you let's say a huge star, obviously in Europe and obviously in Belgium where you're living, but in Aussie were you big?
No, not really. I mean, cycling hadn't gotten as much press as it gets now. I guess I wasn't winning the Tour de France, and I honestly didn't really have a handle on how much publicity it was getting back there anyway, because being in Europe, you're not watching Aussie TV, you're not listening to Aussie radio. I wasn't seeing much outside of the bubble I was in the Tour de France, so I'm not really sure, but I know it didn't make front pages or anything like that. I think one of them made the back page when I first won a stage in the Tour, but it's certainly has gotten better over the years, and you know, Cadell winning the Tour in 11 was the explosion of it. I hope this does, you know, get the publicity it deserves. I mean, I've been seeing a few things come through, articles, newspaper articles and stuff. Actually, unfortunately, I missed a few calls. I'm on a UK number at the moment, being over here, and I missed a bunch of calls with, you know, shows wanting to get comments on TV like Sunrise, etc. But I was on a different number, so I didn't see him come through. Well, I missed Barrett's. Barrett's is a good bloke, and he loves his bikes. He does the Tour de Cure and plenty of riding. So he's been giving it a really big pump up on Sunrise, which is the most watched morning show in Oz, which is really good.
I reckon Jai would be maybe the best, you know, at least one of the best sort of faces to bring to Australian cycling as like a, you know, such a likable guy. Like just last night, right? He won the Giro. We're sitting here watching it. I had bloody goosebumps. I was nearly crying, you know, like just a little emotional tear because, like, you know, I know him. He's a good guy. He's from Australia. You kind of feel like, for me, you can relate to this guy far more than, say, you know, Carapa's a guy from Colombia. You know, you don't really have much in common, let's say, because of completely different backgrounds. But Jai just is like the everyday guy, working hard, whatever. So it's such a relatable guy. We went down, had a beer, right? Down,
and we Carapa's Ecuador.
Ecuador, yeah.
I was going to say, you definitely can't relate to him.
There you go. Don't even know where he's from.
Yeah, right. Carry
on.
What
I'm saying is, in Girona, you know, we went down, had a beer, cheers to Jai, you know, and we bump into a lot of people just sitting there, and everyone that walked past was just like, you know, stop talking. Everyone's like, shit, how about Hindley? And everybody's so excited for him, and that for me is a sign, like, you know, that if you're universally liked in the peloton, you're obviously a good bloke. You know what I mean? Because it's very easy. Like not everybody likes everybody by any means in the peloton. Like we spend half the show talking about fights we have with people on the bike, or just you know, out riding, or just in our day-to-day lives. That's 50% of our content, just Biffo stories.
Yeah,
but I reckon people like, especially over here, people who walk in the circle of professional cycling, whether they are professional cyclists or like one of our mates we saw yesterday is a mechanic for EF. Like I think they all understand the gravity of the situation as well, like of what the last couple of years has meant for an Australian. Like Jai got second in the Giro in 2020 during the pandemic, okay? And then there was that like, it was a COVID Giro. There was guys out and all that stuff. And then he had a rough year last year with injuries and illnesses. But they also understand that he couldn't go home. He hadn't seen his parents for 2.5 years. He's like, I mean, we've all based ourselves in Europe, and you were the same, Robbie. You set your home up here, and you had kids in schools and all sorts of things. But like, you're still not at home. You're still away from your family. And I think people understand that. They understand that this is a young guy who's been stuck in Europe because of a pandemic, hasn't seen his parents for 2.5 years. He's had illnesses and injuries on top of that, but he's fucking plugged away, and he's showing that 2020 wasn't a flash in the pan. He's gone there with the best bike riders in the world, and he's dusted them up. And then his team actually flew his parents over, I heard, like last minute.
Oh, wow.
They chucked them on a plane.
That is so good.
They chucked them on a plane, and they were there in Verona yesterday.
At what point do you reckon What point do you reckon they flew him over? Like, because until like Robbie said, that moment, like where you suddenly went, fuck, I reckon Carapaz is peddling squares here. And then suddenly there was that, you know, I still thought Carapaz was going to win until that moment where I suddenly went, mate, he's on the ropes. And then he dropped, and then it was over. And then Jai won the Giro. Within that 100-meter stretch of road, that was the first time I was like, okay, he's winning the Giro here. Then what do you do? Ring his parents had like
jump on Skyscanner.
Yeah, cheapflights.com.
Oh, that's a bit expensive.
No, I reckon they did it well before that. Like going into that last week, you could see how close it was going to be, and it's a fair bit to organise to get over there. I mean, it takes even from Perth to get to Verona is going to take you probably 20 hours at least anyway, if not the full 24 door to door. So that they had it set up a little bit before that, but nonetheless, it's awesome that they were able to be there in the arena when he's rolled in. And how good is that entrance into that arena? Like, because a TT to finish a race, I always find a bit shit. There's sort of an anti-climax because He doesn't get a day in the jersey, in the peloton, everyone backslapping him and sort of that roll around like the Champs-Elysees. And you come in at the end of a TT, it's like, okay, that's that. It's sort of over. Not even the really big victory salute. You're finishing on cobbles on a TT rig, and he's probably reluctant to get his hands off the bars because you imagine coming down at that point. But
do you reckon we put a parade on for him? Do you reckon we do it in Girona here? We let the boys do a lap of Bagnoles.
100%.
Up. Bring the pink bike in.
Does anyone want to borrow a pink boiler suit for the ride?
But when you're talking about flying, when you're talking about flying the parents over, remember 2016 Bewls? We flew Chavez's parents over, and we even got a pink car. We fucking lost. So they flew him from Colombia, and I remember the family were there. It was a big surprise in the morning. I was all emotional, and he fucking lost. So after the finish, it was way worse.
Yeah, but you can't go wrong.
Sitting there going, still sort of proud,
Well, you can't go wrong, but because if they win, it's an awesome emotional moment, and if they lose, they need the emotional support.
But the worst was when I said to Shane Bannon, I go, "Did you really get a couple of pink cars done?" And he goes, "Yeah, we did, mate."
It's interesting you say that.
The car park.
That you say like a TT's a shit way to finish a Grand Tour, because I was actually talking about it in the coming back from the airport yesterday with a couple of the guys, and the best Grand Tour finish I ever did was a time trial. But then I'm coming from a completely different perspective, because I was like 127th on GC or whatever, and then I was actually in the Vuelta 2014. We finished with a time trial in Santiago, and because I was one of the early starters, I finished the race, and then Mitch Docker, who started around the same time as me, went back to the hotel, had a quick shower, put our civvies on, put our normal clothes on, and we walked to this bar, and we just sat in this bar like 10K around. It was like 10K into the course on this tight left-hander. And we just sat there and just drank beers with the locals and just watched the rest of the race. But like when you're in Jai's situation, it is like that, because there's still a bit of pressure. Okay, sure, he had that safety net, but you're still like, I don't want to punch her. I don't want to crash.
I could lose a minute in a TT, and I could lose it in 5K. You know what I mean? You have a shitter up a hill.
Yeah, but it's a full stress last day.
Yeah,
so you don't have that. Yeah,
and you cross the line, like you say, Robbie, on a time trial bike, and you're alone. Like you don't get to. You're not with your teammates, the guys that have helped you for the last 3 weeks, the guys that have helped you win that race. You actually want to cross the line with them. Like you see in the Champs-Elysees, you got your 7 guys, teammates next to you, and it's sort of done in unity a bit, but you just cross the line by yourself, and you just got these fences around you, and you're like, but he had his teammate there waiting for him with the road bike, I saw, which was nice.
That was cool. Putting on the pink bike and then making the grand entrance into the arena was really, really cool. And I also liked in the presentation when they were on the podium, then that band, the big brass band, they must have just started doing last-minute rehearsals of Advanced Australia Fair, because they would have had the Ecuador national anthem down pat. They would have had it all in tune and everybody with their parts, and it would have sounded 100%. Then they go like, oh, hang on a second, we got another anthem we got to learn.
Yeah, and coming on. Jai's a true Australian because he hummed it with the rest of us, so we don't know the words. There
was another cool
the main bit.
There's the full John Eels, not even knowing the anthem, just in front of there.
But then you see the camera on you, you sort of got to lip move something. So you sort of going, let us ring Joyce.
Ring Joyce.
Yeah, but the other thing with the leaders jersey, though, just on the, you get those riders that are real particular with their skin suits. I remember when Yatesy had the white jersey at the Tour, and because it's not the normal bloody brand that they're used to, I remember he put it on, and every time he sort of leant forward, it split. And he went through like 2 of these skinnies before him because they didn't have the right size, and he was just going apeshit, like, have a look at this fucking shit.
Yeah. You can get some real dodgy ones. I've had them in the Tour. I've had a yellow skin suit in the Tour. I've had the green skin suit in the Tour. And back in those days, I mean, you get stuff. The quality wasn't that great, and it wasn't even the same, of course, as the team kit. So you're riding a TT in a foreign skin suit with a different chamois that's pretty thin. And I got off the other end. I could hardly walk around. I got in the shower. It stung like anything, if you know what I mean. And it's not ideal.
The Giro actually, The Giro actually when Yatesy had the leader's jersey at the 2018 Giro before the time trial. The clothing company, whatever brand it is, they actually came to the hotel and did a fitting, and they bought like a seamstress and stuff. So they do get it pretty well now. But like, especially these days in time trialing, when you're talking about these marginal differences, like teams spend thousands of euros on.
Yeah, look at Yatesy's $2.5 grand suit.
Specific materials, all these sorts of things, and then all of a sudden you just like, I'm sure it's a good skin suit, but it's not going to be at the same level as what some guys have, and it's like it's just even another pressure. Like, fuck, now I've got to race in the skin suit that's not quite as quick as what I could be racing in.
Roman was in the leader's jersey and the TT, and he just fucked off the leader's jersey and just wore his team skin suit.
Yeah, and you can just cop the fine, but they also have the option to disqualify you from the race if you don't use the organisation leader's jersey.
So he wasn't actually allowed to do that. That wasn't a rule. Like he's like, oh, a national champ takes precedent over leader's jersey or something.
No, you'll just get a fine.
Man,
but also you want to wear it.
Yeah, you'd want to wear the leader's.
I didn't think Rowan was that particular with kit and bikes and all that sort of stuff.
No, I know what happened. I know what happened. No, you know what happened with Rowan? We discussed this with Rowan in Romandy. He was putting it on, and I don't know if this was a ploy to be able to use his national champ skin suit, but he had on the leader's jersey one and broke the zip. Like, how hard do you have to pull on a zip to get it? I
don't believe that.
Break out. So apparently that's the story that he reefed on the zip, or someone from the team reefed on the zip that hard and went,
Ryan
it's broken,
Zeman
can't wear it.
And ripped that zip
can't
in
wear
half.
it. Yeah. So they just came in and went,
yeah, that's clever.
It's busted. Emergency. Oh, we don't have another one on hand. I'll just wear my Nash champ one.
Yeah.
Shit. So what are you up to now, Robbie? You getting home?
I'm still in Bath at the moment. I'm not heading home to Australia. My family are coming over in a couple of weeks, and we're going on a little holiday, going down to Greece, do the islands for a while before I come back and join GCN again for the tour.
Nice. Go see my family in Crete.
You got family in Crete, have you?
Yeah, my grandma's from Crete.
All right, I'll drop in. That's where we're going.
Go to Hanya. That's the uncles and aunties. Somewhere around there.
Righto, I'll get in there.
Tell them you're a Candonaleos or whatever. I can't remember our last name, but something like that. And,
I can't remember our last name. I'm George's mate, and I'll just say George's mate, and I'll brace myself for a clip around the ear hole.
Yeah, they'll bloody deport you, I reckon.
Did she change her last name to get out of speeding fines? Is that what she's done?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We were talking about that off air. Like, people that are real dodgy change one letter in their last name and it changes your whole name. So if you get speeding fines, no, that's not me. My name's Bennett with one N.
Or 3 T's.
3 T's.
Yep. All right, mate. Should we let Robbie go?
Boys. Going out to forage for some lunch.
Well, thanks for coming on, mate. It was last minute, but
good to see you, boys.
It was good that we finally got a qualified guest on and didn't really, like, probably the most qualified guest we could ever get on. And
you mean had someone riding for GC?
About the guest.
Someone qualified to talk about riding GC.
Yeah.
That's an interesting, mate.
The GC commentary team, which I must say is a bloody brilliant commentary team.
Oh, so good.
It's quite funny, like, listening to it. Because you've got you, Blythe, and Dan Lloyd, who just spent their whole careers in the Gruppetto and Grand Tours.
Man, Blythe makes me laugh, eh?
This is the first mountain stage I've ever seen.
I'm really enjoying the mountain stages because until I retired, I'd never seen what happened at the front.
Exactly.
What's Blythe like? He's bloody flown up the ranks.
He's great, isn't he?
He's good. He's a good guy, and he's. I tell you what, the fashion stakes with Blythe. He turned up to the hotel with 14 suitcases. He is the kitmeister. He just loves it. He's really good guy. Always upbeat, always having a laugh. And Dan Lloyd, he's got the driest sense of humour you ever come across. If you can ever get him on, I doubt he's always on something else, but. No, really good bunch of people, and all are running the show on the breakaway. The host, she is unreal, and then of course Rob Hatch and Sean Kelly together. It's just it is the A team. Homer Cycling.
I want to get Sean Kelly on because I just love how he just hangs his co-commentator out sometimes. Like they'll do a big spiel and like, "What do you think, Sean?" And he'll just be like, I don't think so. And
No.
just leave it. And then you're just like, all right.
It was one the other day about Sean. We were talking about something. Someone went back to the car to get the last drink. I said, yeah, they're going back to get, you don't want to name brands. I said, going back for a bit of the Black Doctor, that fizzy drink gives you a bit of a rush. It's good stuff. It's not scientific, but it certainly works. And Sean then came through and went, yeah, I always love to go back and get a can of Coke. Like, all my efforts to not name a brand.
Loves it.
Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend. We went for a couple of rides too. We all went riding together, and Sean's still plugging away. Brilliant.
Who's got it actually out of the commentary team? Who's the best still?
Well, I'm the only one on here, so me.
Yeah, all right. Put them away there.
Is Wigo still doing stuff on the bikes?
Yeah. Wigo was on the back of the motorbike. Yeah. He was trying to get in amongst it. It's getting more difficult with the commissaires and stuff, saying, oh, you're not allowed to go there. You can't get in amongst. But he was doing his best getting in amongst it. And some of his best insights actually came during the time trial and about preparing the time trial and how they're riding it and that sort of stuff. But just little things he's seen in the race. And he always comes out with something that makes you laugh.
Oh, he looks like a mad dog nowadays. You see, I think Iffy caught up with him pre-start one day, and it's just like he just might as well get the next tat that says 0 fucks given.
Yeah,
he just
pretty
looks
much.
Like, that's Wigo.
Let's let Robbie out of here.
All right.
Good on you, boys.
Mate. Thanks.
No worries.
Cheers. See you
Thanks,
later.
mate.
Right. Robbie McEwen.
I like, and we're also like, we are so shit, eh? Like we finally get. I think what you're getting at, George, is we finally get a qualified guest on. Like I told you guys about, effectively a few hours before the show. Oh, Robbie was going to come on, and then George is like, "Yeah, you got anything to talk to him about?" I'm like, Giro.
We gave him shit straight off the bat.
We just abused him about his suit and then asked him about GC. What's he won? Like 26 tour stages or something?
Yeah.
Something like that.
We could have asked for it, and then we sort of teased that all we talk about is Biffo stories. He would have had heaps in the Palo.
Oh,
didn't ask him about that.
Didn't he have a good headbutting? What was his headbutting?
Yeah, him and Stewie, 2005 Tour de France.
They just went at it, eh?
Yeah, they stripped him of points. It was a stage Boonen one. And they stripped Robbie of all his points on that stage, which ended up costing him the green jersey. That would have got him really going. We should have asked him about that.
That was back in the days where you could do that. You could sort of do that stuff, hey? You get DQ'd.
Well, remember when Jules did it? Julian Dean was throwing the headbutts on...
No, other way around.
No, other way around.
Renshaw was headbutting Jules.
Oh,
and they kicked Renshaw out, remember?
No, I can't remember. I can't remember who's throwing the headbutts. I can't remember what happened.
Renshaw was headbutting Julian in the finish straight, and then they booted Renshaw out of the tour. Like they sent him home. And then I remember seeing an interview with Jules afterwards from SBS, I think it was. They said, "Oh, what do you think?" And he was like, "Oh, probably a bit harsh, eh? I don't really care."
I would not headbutt Julian Dean, eh?
No.
You have to be a psycho to headbutt Julian Dean.
But yeah. So I was going to cut you off, but I just remember that day that that was the first tour I was at when Robbie headbutted Stewie, and I didn't really know how cycling worked and all the ins and outs. And I just remember Tom Boonen won the stage. He was in the green jersey. He throws his hands up. All I could look at was on his green nicks. He must have gone for a piss because there was a big patch around on his left leg where it like leaked through. And I was just like, how's that? How have people not talking about that? It was the same year that Weendog, when he crossed the line to win his stage, he coughed and this big phlegm ball just was hanging out. So every time you look at the winning photo, there's just this big like loogie. And then I remember talking to Steve-O about it, and I go, we're in the car one day at the Vuelta, and he goes, don't get me fucking started. He goes, when I won my tour stage, I had a big boogie, like a big oyster in my nostril, and he's on the podium. You know, when they get right underneath, he reckons someone blew up the photo and gave it as a gift, and all he can see is this big oyster hanging out. So he got a black texter, and I like scratched it out, and he goes, I fixed it. That was fine. Anyway, that was random.
It was random, eh? What have you been up to anyway, Jonsey? I just did Tour of Estonia, actually. We just finished, just got back yesterday. I
copped a bit of heat from the fans on Twitter about getting smoked by the...
I just like how you asked what I was doing and then just took over and started talking about yourself.
What are you doing? Because what I've been doing is...
Carry on, Sam.
All right.
No worries, mate.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. What happened in Estonia, Sam? I'm more interested in that. Please elaborate.
So I
That was
actually,
the race.
I did come a bit of heat. Actually, look at this tweet. How's this tweet? So I put it on social media last night, and there's a photo of me. You can't see it, but if you go on social media, you'll be able to see it. Sitting on the chair in my team tracksuit, covered in whatever's inside a fire extinguisher, because I just had to use a fire extinguisher. I'll get to that. And I said, it's Sunday night, Bewls is back from Estonia and covered in whatever the fuck's in a fire extinguisher, and Jai Hindley's won the Giro. Plenty to talk about tomorrow. And then this parody account for, instead of Bora Hangsgrow, it's Botta Hangsglow or something, some parody account. He just replied and said, did he get burnt by the Conti teams in Estonia? I was like, hey, you little fucker. My initial reaction was like, oh, you prick. And then I was like, actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty good reply. But we didn't get burnt, but we didn't win. We did get beaten by them, actually. It was a tough race. It was only 3 days. We started with a real short prologue, 3.5K through this. It was like basically, anyone listening who's ever been down and watched the Jayco Herald Sun Tour prologue, that little 2K twisty prologue in the centre of Melbourne there.
The prologue through the Alfresco diners, through the middle of the people down there on the buttery shards on a Friday afternoon. You're just ripping through this cobbled street and they just look disgusted at you.
Yeah, and they always go, 20,000 spectators greeted him for the opening stage. Bullshit, that's the commute home and they can't get past the barricades, just hurling
you're just riding
riders
through rush hour traffic.
Yeah, that's it.
In mid-city Melbourne, just
fucking
being
get
an
off the
absolute
road.
menace.
Yeah, that's it.
So you think that's technical? This one in Estonia was even worse. It was 3.5K or 3.7K, and it had I couldn't even count how many corners they had, and it was all on a bike path through this park basically, and it was actually pretty fun in the end. But then we did that, and then we had 2 road stages, and we got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 10th, something like that in the prologue. So obviously we had a bit of a responsibility the next day, and we were trying to win the race. And we did. We just got beaten by these bloody strong these 2 guys on the last stage.
I heard that from there was rumors in the peloton that you were bullying people.
Ooh, me?
Yeah,
I'm not a bully.
Well, apparently you were mean to somebody, so they stopped chasing.
I was frustrated. Yeah. I was frustrated. What
did you do, Sam?
No, so again, it was actually quite good. It was quite good from them. It was almost better than that tweet I got. The team that won, the guy that won the prologue was from this Polish continental team, quite a strong team, racing in quite a few races. They're always at Tour of Poland and other races. And so they had the yellow jersey for the second stage, the first road stage. And they were trying to get in the breakaway, going full gas, trying to put us under pressure, obviously to try and, if they could slip somebody in the break, then all the responsibility was on us. So we were just chasing them, joining them. Anyway, this took 70K for the breakaway to go. And then eventually I said to them before the break, when I said, guys, we're going to help control. So let's just let a break go and we'll help you guys control the stage. So they were happy with that. The breakaway went 3 guys. And then I started riding. Once the break got to about 3 minutes, I started riding. And then 30K later, I was still just there by myself. And I was like, where are these guys? What are they doing? So I went back and said to them, I was like, come on, guys, just put one guy on the front. You got the yellow jersey. Just one of you, one of us will control this breakaway. Make sure it comes back for a sprint. And then they're like, oh, no, we're not going to ride because you guys are only 1 second behind us. I was like, you guys are fucking 1 second in front of us. You got the yellow jersey. Anyway, they didn't put someone there. So I started carried on riding. And then 20K later, one guy came up from this team and started to ride with me. And I was frustrated. So when he came up, I thought I was a bit of a dick. I was a bit rude. I said, good to see you, mate. Finally up here. Bloody good to see you. Come on, let's do it. And then he was just like, you're going to get cheeky? Fuck yeah. And just swung off and just stopped pulling again and never rode for the rest of the stage. I was like, I said to one of the other guys on our team, oh, can you just go and ask them why they've stopped riding? So then one of the guys in the team came up, he goes, they said that he took the piss out of him, so they said, fuck yeah, he can ride by himself.
That's such a good response, eh?
Yeah. That's actually pretty funny, eh?
That's good.
We're going to ride then. There's nothing more powerful than someone who's prepared to lose. Like, just prepared, like, at all costs. Like,
principle.
I've only done it once where me and Brambia just decided, like, I'm prepared to lose. And we just both just stopped pedaling, like 1K to go, and everyone just rode off, and we're just like, I'm prepared to lose this. And then he was prepared to lose it, and it was like, oh, there you go. We just gave away Giro stage.
Both lost.
Both lost.
Hey, George, what did you get up to this week? Because last weekend I shot on Saturday the A-League Grand Final, and this team that we're following, Underdogs, they bloody won it.
Really?
Western United, mate. Fucking hell.
Is that the A-League? That's Phoenix, isn't it? New Zealand's Phoenix.
We beat the Phoenix round 1, and then we had to play Victory, and no one gave them a chance. They're the biggest, most established club. Lost the first leg. Second leg, they pounced them 4-1, and then they won 2-0 in the final. Absolute scenes, mate.
What are you doing with them?
I'm doing a 8-part doco series. So we've got 8 one-hour episodes. So I'm back.
Jeez.
This is a follow-up from All for One. This is our fan club, and the trophy looks like a toilet seat. So the fans just put toilet seats around their deck as a tribute.
I like how many people in that photo look like they're smoking massive darts, like front right, second from the right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They were smoking a lot of bungers. I don't know if it was all tobacco. They were charged.
Football fans are unparalleled.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, it'd be a bit of a shit series if they went out like second round, you know?
Well, that's the thing. When you're planning the series, you've got to plan for all the scenarios. And you're sort of going, geez, the app's going to be like, wow, we had a crack. You know, good on you, boys. And try and wrap it with sort of philosophical stuff. But we didn't think that they were going to win it. And then they fucking won it. And like the best thing about this club is off the pitch, there's so much shit. Like they don't have a home, so they're playing at all these different grounds. One ground they played at Ballarat, and they got beaten by the Phoenix 4-1. It was a shithole. Like the rooms were smaller than the South footy clubs. And then the coach is John Aloisi. I remember that morning I walked in because I've got no self-awareness, as we all know. And the first thing I said to him, I go, Jesus, mate, these rooms are fucking smaller than the South footy clubs. And he just gave me this sort of death stare as if to go, mate, I'm trying to motivate the group. And you're coming in red hot saying how much of a shithole it is. And it's our home game. You know? And I remember one time he's doing this real serious team meeting before a big game. And my fucking phone went off. Like, you know, those moments where you forget to put on silent. And I just remember he's going through these tactics and he fucking hates people moving. And you hear the AC/DC, you shook me out, no. And he just turns and he fucking goes, what the fuck? He goes, mate, that's a massive fine. And one of the players goes, yeah, it's a bloody good song, though. It's like another stanza. Yeah.
Is that your ringtone?
Yeah. I love it.
I feel like when you turn a good song into your ringtone, you end up hating the song, especially if it's your alarm ringtone.
Yeah, it's
you
classic.
Just dread it.
Yeah, it's classic. So anyway, I can take this scarf now. That was just all for a gag, but yeah, they stretched that out for 40 minutes.
What's the football series on Netflix that follows 2 seasons, follows this
Sunderland Till I Die.
Sunderland Till I Die.
Everyone said to us when we started this project, they go, oh, have you seen Sunderland Till I Die? We said, no, we haven't. We haven't seen it for a reason. We don't want to follow any other series. We want to do our own thing. And that was it.
Well, theirs is interesting because your team's won, but Sunderland's one was all about how they just got shitter and went into the grade below. Got relegated.
Well, we've got bits of that halfway through the season where you go, oh, these guys are shit. They're not going to do anything. And then they just slowly claw their way back. It's fucking incredible, mate. Like it's one of the greatest. October. Well, we hope.
I actually went to a football game a few weeks ago. Me and Hannah. We went to Man City versus Newcastle.
It's a bit bigger crowd than 200 down at Moorshead Park.
Mate,
did you headbutt some people and kick some?
I couldn't believe it. Like I'd never been to a football game before, but I've been to quite a lot of live sporting events, Rugby World Cup final and things like that. But like this was just a Sunday game. They play twice a week or whatever they do, and against Newcastle, a team that they were always going to probably beat. But the title race was still going between Man City and Liverpool, so like they still needed to make sure they won the game. But it was effectively just another Sunday of football that happens for half the year. Mate, 65,000 people, not a free seat, and the atmosphere is just unbelievable, unbelievable. Like, I was blown away by it. Their team song, which is a bit fucking weird, is what's their team song? Oh, Hey Jude, eh? Had to ask, yeah. Their team song's Hey Jude, which is a bit weird because
Lennon's from Liverpool.
Yeah, but this is Man City. This is Manchester.
Oh.
This fucking should be
Oasis.
I was
thinking about Liverpool.
Something. Should be bloody
yeah,
Oasis.
but they'd love the na hey.
Yeah,
just keep that going.
That's what I was getting at. Like the 65,000 people singing Hey Jude before the start is like, it's pretty cool. And like I was quite keen to get there. I was like, I want to see like I was joking with Hannah. I was like, we should get down to the one of the train stations a couple hours early and watch the bloody what are they called? The
pub fights.
Yeah, remember that movie with Elijah
Hooligans.
Wood? Hooligans.
Yeah, Hooligans.
Yeah. I was like, we should get down one of those train stations and watch the hooligans go at it, I don't
Knuckle dusters
anymore. But we got there anyway to the game, and because it's an away game for Newcastle, they only get allocated so many seats. So they were only allocated 3,000 seats. And the fans that travel,
this is 61,000 home seats.
Yeah.
And 3,000 aways.
Yeah. So it's just a sea of blue. The sea of blue, and then there's just this one strip of black and white Newcastle colours.
But can't you just how do they know if you're a home fan or not?
Oh, there must be the way they do the tickets, whatever. Because all the tickets,
yeah, but you can say, who you support? Well, would everyone going to get me a ticket?
No, because I don't know the ins and outs of it all. But anyway, they put
don't put him under pressure.
Yeah, sorry. Jesus, he didn't.
Stop asking questions. Yeah. Are you going to pull on the front?
I don't know. But they put all the Newcastle fans in one bit, one area of the stand. They're all in the same area of the seating. But like I wanted to see if there was this hooligan things. So we're standing there, and we got there a bit early for the game. So we went up into our seats, checked out the stadium, and then we went and bought a pie and a beer, and I stood on the viewing deck that looks out of the courtyard behind the stadium, where you walk in. And the first Newcastle fan I saw was just this dude walking with no T-shirt on, swinging his Newcastle shirt, had no shirt on, and just going, "Fuck Man City! Fuck Man City!" Just like
real high end, real witty,
I just and Hannah was like, "Yeah, the traveling fans are the worst fans. Like they're the diehards, the ones that travel to go and watch their team play." But it was
and for those guys, they'd get in punch-ons every week. They'd love it.
Mm. And there's a Kiwi plays for Newcastle as well, Chris Wood. So got to see fellow countryman get pants 5-0.
Yeah, but they had the Champions League final. When was it? Yesterday, and all the Liverpool fans got tear gassed in the queue waiting for tickets. And they always, whenever the news does the grabs, they always go to the oldest fan when their shit goes down, just to really pull on the heartstrings. And they had the old Liverpool fan go, "Oh, this is fucked." He goes, "I've been here. I got fucking tear gassed." So, yeah. What do you expect? Yeah. The French aren't going to make it easy for you, mate. They're going to douse you in that shit before you get in the stadium.
I reckon the police of the local police of a city, because obviously the Champions League final is it was at a neutral venue this year. Like typically, Paris could have made the final, and then it wouldn't have been a neutral venue. But it's still it's a bid, it's like the Olympics. So the country or a city bids for the Champions League final a couple of years ahead or whatever. Like when they're like, and the 2022 Champions League final will be held in Paris. The local police must just go, "Oh fuck,
oh yeah,
oh fuck."
And then they're watching the draw and they're seeing Liverpool getting up, and they're like,
yeah.
If Barcelona get in, Catalans, they're setting some rubbish bins on fire. That seems to be their thing, but it's never sort of more than that. You know what I mean? It's not let's shit kick some fans on the ground,
Yeah, but you know,
fire. That's a good. Oh, sorry. I was going to segue into my fire. I had the fire extinguisher all over me, but
oh yeah.
So
I was just going to quickly, just one quick one about footy fans, which is when Australia qualified for the 2006 World Cup. In 2002, when they played Uruguay over in Uruguay and they got pounced, the local fans set off fireworks right outside the Aussie hotel all night. So none of the players got any sleep. So then when they played them the next time to qualify over in Uruguay, they changed the hotel at the last minute and stayed on the 70th floor. So no matter how high up they could get the fireworks going, they weren't going to reach. And then they hired a private plane because they knew that the government were going to screw over their flights and delay them to do the leg back in Australia. They spent $500,000 to get a Qantas jet to get back. And then when Uruguay stayed in Australia, the Aussie fans heard this story and let fireworks go and car alarms and all that at their hotel to keep them up all night so that they went in the game cooked. Anyway, it's
unreal.
That's pretty high level conspiracy. Like the government's involved in like rigging.
No, but they ended up screwing themselves over because they delayed the flight, but then they go, "No, you dickheads, that's the plane with the Uruguay team on it." And they go, "No, they had that fucking private jet that's already taken off." So they fucked their own team and delayed it by 3 or 4 hours because they thought it was the Aussie team. So it's classic. That's why we won the qualified for the World Cup that year. Anyway,
Fire extinguisher. Yes, I got home. Fire extinguisher. I got home. And I came in, I was still in my team kit, sitting down on the couch or whatever. And it was late in the night and the doorbell rang. And I was like, the fuck? Who's ringing the doorbell at like 11 o'clock at night or whatever? And then I was like, I'm not even going to bother. So I didn't even get up, just stay on the couch. And then it was like, ding, 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 like ringing it in panic. And I was like, fuck, what the hell's going on here? So I got up, opened the door. And this like, the apartment below me has got these, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you how many people live in that apartment. It's somewhere between 2 and 15. There's always people there. And they're like these young uni students and they're always smoking weed and like you can smell it, you know. And then she came, this little girl, like opened the door and she's just like, fire, 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 fire. And I was like, what? She's like, there's a fire. And then like right next to where she's standing outside of my front door of my apartment is a fire extinguisher. I was like, well, probably not a bad option. Like if there's a fire.
You're fireman, Sam.
the first thing I would do if there was a fire would be probably grab the fire extinguisher. Anyway, she wasn't thinking clearly. So I've grabbed the fire extinguisher and I was like, how bad can this fire be? You know, like everyone says, oh, there's a fire. Yeah, like you fucking drop your joint on the house plant or something, you know? So I like grabbed the fire extinguisher, nonchalantly walked down the stairs to the level below me. And then like this dude just standing at the door. This guy's like 7 foot tall. He's like, hey man, what's up? I was like, apparently there's a fire. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah, there's a fire. And then I walked in, no shit. The whole fucking wall of their hallway was on fire. Like from the floor to the ceiling. Like the building was going to burn down. I was like, holy fuck, there is a fire. So I just like,
why did they run up to see you? Why were they like, oh, that cyclist above us will be able to sort this out?
Yeah, why couldn't they sort it out?
She ran past 2 fire extinguishers to ring my doorbell. And I was like,
she's cool.
I walked in and honestly, it would have probably been like 2 meters squared of a wall on fire, like flame, full flame. I was like, the fucking building is going to go down. So I just like, and that's why I was covered in fire extinguisher shit because I had to put a fucking fire out in my building.
That's a good hero story though. You just saved your building. You just saved a good part of Old Town because if your building went down, a lot of buildings are going down.
And then she's like, "Oh, we've called the fire brigade, but maybe they don't need to come now." I was like, I suggest you still get them here. Like,
and there would have been one guy in the back of the room, and his way of saying thanks would have taken a big breathe in, and then just like
giving you the nod.
You want a puff, mate?
No.
You burned
it. That was why I got covered in fire extinguisher. I thought I'd better clear that up since I tweeted about it. Yeah.
That's outrageous. I just can't get over the fact that they thought it would be a good idea to come ask you, like the one guy that, you know, doesn't actually live in the building half the time. Like, how many times are you actually in that building? Fuck all, you know?
Yeah. But also, like, I said to her, the fire extinguisher, she's like, I don't know how to use it. I was like, well, I've never used one either, but it can't be fucking difficult. Like,
what do you do? No. Pull the ring out and squeeze?
They make these things so that anybody can use them when they need to.
And the thing is, the instructions are in Spanish. So you're looking at it like, well, can you translate?
I got a question for you on that. You know, when you go on a flight and people sit in the emergency exit row, do you assess you know, when they do that spill, you know, if there is an emergency, and you sort of look around the plane and you go, if the shit goes down here, will that bloke, what sort of stuff's he going to be made of? Because
you're meant to stay behind. You're meant to open the door and help everybody out. You're not meant to just open the door and gap it. You know, you're meant to.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always
you're meant to open the door.
You're meant to rip the door, and then your job's done, and you can go.
No. In the event of emergency, you're the for extra legroom. The price of extra legroom is being a hero in the case of an emergency.
Fuck that. But they don't know that. I'd let the door go, and I'd be like, George Costanza, adios, muchachos.
Before I'm getting up, I'm grabbing my belongings from the overhead locker, which you also not.
No, you're not going to do that either.
Grabbing that, opening the door.
No.
Jumping out. Closing the door.
And this is why you're not allowed an emergency exit.
Yeah. 80 souls went down on that flight, but purely saved his iPad mini.
Yeah. I've been removed from an exit row before because when I had my broken wrist. They're like,
oh really?
I had a massive cast on my arm, and they're like, you can't open that door. I was like, is it going to matter?
Odds?
Is it going to matter?
Yeah. Oh man! Speaking of saving stuff that's annoying, well, not really speaking of that, but it just reminded me about how annoying it would be if you did lose your wallet in a plane. You know, like, oh fuck. But I've had to go do all my new credit cards. I got scammed 2 days ago.
Oh really?
And like, you always think that like getting credit card scams are for like, you know, people that aren't particularly switched on or just tech savvy. Let's say, and I'm not saying I'm tech savvy. I can't even turn my microphone on. I've been muted for half of this by mistake, but. I had this brilliant scam, and I almost think like these guys deserve my credit card details just because they got one past me. Like they
said they were from Greenpeace.
Yeah,
you want a donation?
Plant a tree. Oh, go on.
You've been getting rid of too much plastic waste, George.
Yeah, we saw you throw that bottle.
Get rid of your carbon credits. Just need a credit card.
I was expecting a package, right? And I tracked it, and I was like, "Oh, fuck. It's at customs. Everything's stuck at customs now." And it just got to customs, and then that day, I got a text message from Correos, the Spanish government, the Spanish postal service, saying, "You've got a package at customs. Click on this link to pay the tax." And I clicked on it, and I was like, €2.50. I was like, "Man, that's not very much tax." But it was all like official, you know, Correos.com, all this stuff. But I just had this bad feeling. I was like, oh, nah, that doesn't seem right. Like I just get a text message asking for credit card details. It seemed a bit like off. But anyway, I was like, I slept on it. I was like, I'll sleep on it. And the next morning, I tracked the thing again and see like package awaiting payment at customs. And I was like, surely that's it then. You know, like what are the chances it's, you know, you get a text message the same day it arrives. So I just paid it. And then straight away, I was like, oh, man, I don't know. I just got a bad feeling. Like, even though it all looked official and everything. So I text Caitlin because she gets packages every day. I was like, do you know, like, this link's normal way? And she's like, nah, I never get messages. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then she sent me this link saying, like, from Correos, we'll never ask for your credit card details. This is a scam. Rah, rah. And I was like,
what'd they get on it? What'd they buy on your credit card? Details.
Don't know yet. Waiting to see what the damages. But do you know, so I've been at the bank this morning on a different credit card. This is an outrageous rule, right? So I've come back to Spain. Yes, this is all my Andorra stuff. So, but I've come down to Spain to be at Seattle for a couple of days. Just came from camp going to, and I had to sort out like bank accounts here. And I went in this morning to this meeting with the bank, and we're going through, and there's just all these like things, just all this money going out, and I'm like, hold on a minute. Because I don't really have an active Spanish bank account, just have one that pays, you know, automatic rent here and stuff. And then I saw this money going out, and I was like, "What is this?" And the guy's looking, he's like, "I don't know, but it's the Spanish government. There's a rule here; they can just take money out of your account. So, you know, you don't have to approve anything. They can just go and like,
what for?
So like I don't know. That's what I got to find out this afternoon. So I've just been seeing like. That's for $3,000. Just go Spanish government.
What?
2,800 euros this morning.
That doesn't seem right.
No.
I feel like I've given my credit card details somewhere.
It's like, Geez, if a citizen did that to someone else, you'd be in the clink.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a rigmarole. So,
Jeez.
And apparently I'm not the only one. I've been talking to my other friend who's been around, and yeah, it sounds like.
So it's a Spanish law. It's a law that they can just take money out of you. I don't think it's a law.
I said, how did he get that money? And they said, yeah, they just take it. It's called an embargement. Just
Gospel
take it out.
according to mates. That's always.
So I'm going to just drain that account and be like, fucking try it now.
Then you'll be an overdraft. Get pinged.
Yeah, then I'll owe them even more. Is that how they make their money? Then you have to pay interest on the money that they wanted to take out. So anyway, that's going to be my afternoon.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Should we wrap this shit show up?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's been fun.
George got robbed. Yeah.
Let's catch up after Dauphiné.
When's that kicking off?
Sunday, Father's Day.
All right. And you're doing the Dauphiné?
Yeah, I'm doing Dauphiné, and then into
Slovenia?
Nah.
No.
Nah. None of that.
Oh. You've got to butter the bread of Pogacar for us.
Mate, I tell you what, I've just been at training camp with him. And I was luckily sort of on a slightly different schedule because those boys doing Slovenia, I'm doing Dauphiné. So I actually went down a bit early. But there was, we were there for a week together or whatever. But there was only one day we really trained like hard together. And I tell you what, the best thing that could happen to me was, as much as I enjoyed being there with the boys, it was a real good time. Getting away from not training with him every day, because I would not make the Tour de France. I would be in a body bag. Mate, this guy, unreal.
Yeah.
Like when you start a training ride and you just like out the door and you're just taking a piss, just riding that fast. And I'm just in the wheels, going, okay, I can do this for one day, suck it up for one day, and like let's make a training ride of this. But 3 weeks of this, it's worse than the Tour de France.
Really?
Unreal. So.
But you got to butter his bread every morning. I'll come over to your bus and just be a pest because there'll be no one else wanting to talk to him.
Nah. Just wear a mask. I got intense COVID paranoia at the moment because I still haven't had it. And after Joao out of the Giro,
I'll wear a mask.
That was a bit of a bummer.
I'll bring a microphone pole as well if you want. How many feet do you want me to run?
What are you running at the moment?
4 feet. That's enough.
Okay. Yeah, right.
I'll get one of those Breaking Bad suits and just really rip the piss out of it.
One of them Robbie McEwen suits, I reckon.
Yeah. All right. Done.
All right.
All right.
All right. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe.
That's it.